Yo, God gang, what's going on YouTube? It's me, G0D, it's your boy Trey God, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're reacting to ViniTube video, top 20 best action shonen anime of all time. I'm ready to hear what ViniTube thinks. I'm ready to hear his opinion. What do you think is gonna be in the top 10, top 5, or whatever the fuck? Fuck you, suck at this, bro. Any reaction question I got, leave them in the comments, And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, go subscribe to ViniTube too, because his list be fire. Every ViniTube video we watch is fire. Like, big fact. Without further ado, man, let's get straight into this video. Let's get a transition.
I've been looking at my views and it's no doubt that action anime is a favourite for you guys. It's all cool, I'm one of you too. So instead of counting down the top 10 this time, I'm going to go for 20 titles. 20 of my favourite action shonen. Yep, you heard that right. It's the biggest ViniTube video yet, and we're going to have double the fun today. After all, we're fast approaching 1 million subs, so here's something for a preemptive celebration perhaps. What I define as action shonen is a title that has battles and a bit of adventure as its primary hook, which is why some titles that I feel could belong in this list don't exactly make it due to technicality.
Noragami, yo, I saw Noragami there. Noragami is fire. And of course that's the first one. Yo, Noragami is
number
the heat,
20 on my list is Noragami.
How did Noragami's fire, bro?
We start off with something modern. Noragami is what I'd call short and sweet, and it's one of my favourite anime in early 2014.
Tough.
It has a lovable cast of characters set in an urban setting that heavily intersects with the spiritual. It was quite the hit back in the day. Not mainstream popular, but Yato, Hiyori, and Yukine's antics endeared them enough to get the show a sequel, Noragami Aragoto. And how could it not? It's an urban fantasy action show that places surprisingly heavy emphasis on character development. We really get to feel for the characters and grow attached to them as they go through their interpersonal drama that heavily characterizes most of the series. From Yato to Hiyori to side characters like Bishamon, the characters are very fleshed out. This thing sorely needed another sequel, and it's mainly the reason why it's rated at only number 20, especially after the way Aragoto ended.
They need another season, bro.
Cases wherein the season 1 ending had more closure, so it makes me think that if it just ended up being a one and done anime, I would have been perfectly fine with it. But the stopping point for season 2 changed my mind.
Yeah. We need another season, bro. Y'all gave Classroom Elite season 2. Y'all can do it with Noragami. Come on.
Number 19, we go to a classic favourite, Dragon Ball Z.
Really? Yeah, 19. Interesting.
Dragon Ball as a franchise needs little explanation. Even if you're someone new to the whole anime thing, there would surely be an anime boomer out there telling you about how great the exploits of Goku and his pals were back in the day. It's just a testament as to how big of an influence the series had in shaping the childhoods of 90s kids. If you're gonna let me have a biased opinion, I really love it. It's got a lot of cool moments and fights, and I feature it in so many of my videos. But I have it just at number 19 because taking those fights away and you have a shonen that's somewhat bare bones, especially compared to a lot of the more modern shows. It's not aged very well in my opinion, even compared to the 2000 shonen. But that's what Super's for, right? To keep the show up to speed with the modern era.
I guess.
Here's a niche title for the number 18th rank, Claymore. I legitimately wonder how many people have watched Claymore in 2022.
I haven't seen
Not
it.
a lot, I assume. Even back in its day, it was quite the niche title, even as it's a product of Shonen Jump. It takes place in a medieval land that's plagued by shape-shifting demons called Yoma, and the ones standing in their way are female warriors who are also part Yoma, called Claymores by the public. It's a show that I enjoyed, and I think a lot of people would like it. It has an interesting premise, strong characters like the Claymores who have their share of action scenes to shine in, and a lot of great fighting too. However, I take points away from the anime because of how it seems so unfinished as an adaptation. The production values haven't aged too well either. Black Clover bursts its way into rank 17.
Is Black Clover better than Dragon Ball Z?
Here's something most of you are familiar with. I feel that the mystique in Black Clover has a lot to do with its world and magic system. It's always interesting to watch a battle shonen with such a particular edge with its characters, its spells, and the overall way it handles its fights. It's very immersive when the ball got rolling, and while the production quality has been inconsistent due to its long-runner nature, it hits the mark when it comes to moments that matter. Sorry, Dean, 7 Deadly Sins. I personally admire Black Clover and its fans. The anime is the subject of much criticism early on in its run, but the fans have stuck with it and got rewarded rewarded with one of the better new-gen and immersive shonen long runners. It's the true embodiment of a journey that pays off, a meta parallel to Asta's underdog story from laughingstock to hero, ironically.
God damn, that nigga's built.
In 16th place, we go back to the Sengoku period with Dororo.
Crazy. Dororo
isn't a new series. In fact, if we take everything I've talked about so far, Dororo is the oldest series. Its first anime dating back to the end of the 1960s. It's also one of Osamu Tezuka's popular works, which is why it got a modernized version. Among the modern remakes of old titles such as
the opening goes
it's the one that
stupid
ended up being
bro.
the best for me. The story of Hyakimaru fighting demons and finding his humanity through the journey has been beautifully captured in the modern version. Crisp fighting scenes, pretty visuals that capture the essence of the Royal Sengoku era, a lot of emotional moments, and a story that keeps you wanting more. I didn't hear much noise on Dororo when it was first airing, and I think that a lot of people missed out on a great 2019 show. Then again, it's a show that had the first Kaguya, Quince, and Shield hero in it, not to mention the only Promised Neverland anime. Yeah, the only one.
Pretty stacked. It was up against some stacked competition.
World
Trigger, I want to watch this.
Trigger.
And he has it at 15. Bro, I'm gonna watch it, bro. I want to watch this show.
World Trigger is in a weird spot. It started out with its first season right at the first half of the 2010s, and it was barely talked about. Some blame the approach in the adaptation, while others blame the art. Me? I think the show's underrated, and it does take a while to rev up. Thankfully, we did get our sequel last year, and it's where the series starts to show its mettle with a lot of high-octane fights that are just filled with exciting moments and epic animation, a contrast from the middling first season. A true example of a show getting better as it goes on, both in terms of presentation and plot. Oh, and let's not forget the world building and the ability to make us feel attached to the characters and development. World Trigger needed over 70 episodes to get to this point, which is why I'd usually recommend someone to read the manga when it comes to this series. Well, at least for the first few arcs.
Okay.
In 14th place is My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is probably the closest we can get to a modern equivalent to the classic 2000 shonen archetype.
Isn't that what distracted
hero in a bright, idealistic world with a setting that appeals mostly to the younger demographic. It feels like the stock shonen, but given the plot developments we've had so far, I'd say that it also has a lot to offer to older fans. I like the creativity on display with the powers, and I like how it also goes out of the way to give the villains some shine. The show also has several compelling characters that get developed as the story progresses. From a critical standpoint, it may not be the best shonen out there, but there's no denying its influence, and that's why it's right here at number 14. Speaking of cultural influence, Demon Slayer is 13th on my list. By far, the show that gave the most impact in the past couple of years in the world of anime is Demon Slayer. It just blew up in a way that's unprecedented since the days of Attack on Titan Season 1. That's just how big it got. And it mostly did it on the heels of eye-opening animation and art. There's just a signature flair to how the art was done for the series. And I'm not just talking about the Rurouni fights, the attacks, the character presentation, and even the backgrounds, and so all contribute to the appeal of the story so much.
Out of nowhere.
And I stand by what I said, that it's no 10
when
out
that one
of 10
episode dropped, when he killed that one
nigga,
nigga,
good shonen
the
to watch
spider
and
nigga,
introduce to your pals. It's also quite dark and violent for a shonen title, and I bet that helps improve
it was up from there, and then it's just getting even better from us. I still ain't watched season 2.
Entering the halfway point, we look at Rurouni Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin. Okay.
Another timeless classic, Rurouni Kenshin feels different for its time. Instead of having a spitfire of energy, we have an introverted pacifist for a protagonist. Seeking redemption, Kenshin embodies a kind of inner strength that we rarely saw emphasized in the protagonists of the 90s. That alone makes the title notable in its heyday. And there's also the lack of focus on superpowers and such that have become synonymous with the popular shonen titles, instead delving more on character drama and build-up. But that's not to say that the fights aren't good, as it also has some of the best sword fights that the 90s could give us. Those things really gave Rurouni Kenshin
is he the best swordsman?
Its peers. It was one of my favorites amongst the classics,
Who do you
with the
think's the best
Shishio
swordsman?
arc being the peak of its popularity. It's got a unique approach that helped it reach heights, but anime filler hell unfortunately cut its momentum short. This is a show that could have benefited from the throttled releases that My Hero Academia does. From ancient Japan, we take to the Arabian deserts for Magi.
Magi?
The interesting thing is that statement only really holds true for select parts of this fantastic adventure. Magi starts off giving us a new take on the whole Arabian Nights theme, but with anime powers akin to something like Bleach. We then go on a trip that takes us through the various corners of the world, a world that happens to mirror parts of the real world actually, like ancient Rome, China, or the Indian islands. Magi, for all the fantastical elements, does feel like a shonen that hits closer to home. The main appeal is the powers and the adventure for me, but it's also got its chance to show off its mettle in other aspects that we rarely see get this much focus in shonen, such as politics and philosophy. Not to say that the anime is some too deep for you show because it talks about politics. At the end of it all, it's mainly just a bright, idealistic shonen.
I see
the ride as Alibaba and Aladdin learn
the
more
little
about the
picture
world's
for it all the
and
time
interactions with people
on
from
like
all backgrounds.
Funimation or like Crunchyroll or whatever the fuck it's on.
We're at the halfway point now. However, I'd actually also like to take this moment to name a lot of honorable mentions that didn't quite make it to this list. We only have slots for 20 titles after all. So here they are, and they're in no specific order. Shaman King, Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan, Fairy Tail, Rave, D, Greyman, Soul Eater, Hitman Reborn, Seraph of the End, Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Blood
now,
Blockade
do you have
is
any other
lit.
honorable mentions that you've got in mind so far?
Blood
Stay tuned
Blockade
for the next half of this
is
exciting list.
elite.
Coming off the break, we've got a personal favourite of mine, Bleach. I know it's nigh impossible to talk about Bleach without mentioning the 2000s and the big three, so I'll talk about what sets it apart from the other two. If you're asking me why I love Bleach so much and why some people like it the best amongst the hit shonen of the 2000s, I'd say that it's the one that seems the most mature in its presentation. The characters feel like they're part of our world more, and as teens looking to break into adulthood,
Yeah,
then
Bleach
people
is
especially connect
elite.
with the struggles of the
I like
characters,
Bleach more
whereas
than
the worlds
Naruto,
of something
personally.
like Naruto just felt a little bit distant. Bleach is a very influential title in that it helped spurn in a new generation of anime fans in the day. It's also got some of the best aesthetics, from the Shinigami to the Hollows,
Yeah,
Quincy's,
that is
and
true. I
Arrancar.
really like
the designs are
I think that's
top-notch,
what I
all
like
come in
about
with a
Bleach
flavour that's
a lot,
uniquely
to the
theirs.
aesthetic.
That's not to
It has a
mention
really
the
nice
powers and how full
aesthetic.
of stakes the early fights seem. Sure, the series has its flaws and it's almost worn out its welcome by the time the Fullbringer arc came around, but there's a reason that there's clamour for more Bleach and quite some buzz for the
Shout out to
upcoming
Rukia,
sequel,
man.
one that's been a decade in the making. We can't talk about Bleach without the show that it feels like a
Really?
spiritual
I thought he put this at
successor
number
to,
one.
Yu Yu
I thought this would be
Hakusho.
top 5. I thought it would be
Urban
top
fantasy
5.
setting, ragtag group of comrades that fight and have adventures in the spiritual realm, and a protagonist who gets involved in the spirit realm thanks to contact with the supernatural. Yeah, it's easy to see why people call Bleach a spiritual successor to Yu Yu Hakusho. In a lot of ways, the two are the same, yet they are quite different. Yu Yu Hakusho does have a lot of merits. The fighting feels well constructed, and it's got outstanding humor and depth for what people could easily pass off as your everyday supernatural battle shonen.
So
It may
hold
not have
on.
the same level
I'm kind
Bleach has in terms of
of confused about the list though. Is this the best like show? Hold on, let me turn this up. Is this the best? Is the best shonen with the best action, or is this like the? I guess that's what it is. The shonen that he thinks has the best action. I don't know if he thinks these are like the best shonen shows. I don't know. I feel like it's the first way I said it.
the stylishness and complicatedness of the fights and powers later in the story, but Yu Yu Hakusho feels just as rounded as a series. It has arcs that feel simpler but philosophical and just as engaging and
Or is this
enjoyable.
like
If you like one of the
the
two,
best
chances are you like the other as well.
Shonen. I don't
We
know.
then
man.
move
I
to
don't know.
8th
I don't
place
know
where
what
the
I'm trying to say.
second member of the
Because I
Jump
feel
Big
like
Three
I'm
is.
gonna say the exact same thing, and like it's the difference.
It seems to me that among the anime fans of the 2000s, there's no title as influential to them becoming aware of the medium than Naruto. It was big back in the day, back when there wasn't much internet access and online communities to grow. It felt like the flagship title of that era, and for good reason too. What's not to like about Naruto? Assuming you're someone who's clueless about the medium. It's got a plucky underdog story, a unique take on the concept of ninjas for its time, some very nice life lessons to be learned, even though border more on idealistic than realistic. It's no surprise that the show
Naruto's
has
goated.
influenced a whole generation of fans. As for me, I found myself captivated by the interesting
I'm so
world
curious to
and the
see
growth of our
what
protagonist.
his
Following
number one
orange
is.
jumpsuit era Naruto through his journey into the world's greatest
Fullmetal
hero by
Alchemist?
the time the story ends is an ode to the journey that we all take growing up, and the way Naruto the series presented it is very satisfying. Right after that, we have the hottest member of the new
Really?
generation
Okay.
in town, Jujutsu
JJK.
Kaisen.
I feel like he's basing this off like
of
the
style
act.
in the
I don't
world
know.
of battle shonen the same way Bleach was in its day. It's got to be Jujutsu Kaisen. The series just screams edgy and cool, and there's no better way than to show that than to have some of the best fight sequences in modern shonen. It's got a lot of moments to remember thanks to the superb production quality, and we can tell that MAPPA gave their all with this. It's a very fun experience watching Jujutsu Kaisen overall. Like Demon Slayer, I call this a middle-of-the-road show that's infinitely elevated by production quality, but it's got a lot of great moments to remember it for. Almost everything Gojo does, a lot of the fights in the Kyoto Goodwill arc, the main character's personal highlights like Megumi's moment in the last few episodes. It's a show that's very accessible for everyone, and there's a lot to like. And at the end of the day, if you're going to ask a casual watcher or someone looking to get into the medium, that's what matters the most for a shonen anime, right? 6th place is One Piece, the biggest action shonen in Japan.
I completely forgot about One Piece. I thought, surprise, this is the one. What's the top 5? Is he trying to be different right now? I'm not mad if you put One Piece in the top 3, bro. That music, bro.
One Piece to me is the show that represents endless possibilities. Just as it has a setting tailor-made for the series to go on indefinitely, One Piece is the action shonen that is made to be full of surprises. There's just so much that can be done in the world of One Piece, and through several arcs and adventures that Luffy and the group have gone through, I found myself cherishing a lot of them. Those excited cheers of triumph in the heat of epic battles, those dramatic moments that pull both mine and the characters' hearts, and the sheer anticipation of what comes next. I'll never forget them. Watching it all can be a daunting task, but I promise that the journey is worth it. When you get to the key moments, make sure to let it all sink in and be amazed at how powerful a title that looks so cartoony can be in touching the hearts of millions of people in the world.
The show had me crying
if this was
over
a manga
boat,
list, it would have been a lot higher. Unfortunately, like some other long-running anime on this list, it suffers from inconsistent animation and pacing issues due to the addition of in-canon fillers. That's why I recommend you watch the One Piece version, which will save up a lot of your time. My 5th best action shonen is none other than JoJo.
Okay, JoJo's. Nah, too familiar.
JoJo is an anime that's been helped by the internet. I mean, the series has become quite ubiquitous with meme culture and the internet side of the anime fandom. Without the help of those, I doubt the franchise would have exploded the way it did, but I am very thankful for that. Because for all the craziness and the over-the-top elements that's in it, JoJo is a well-thought-out battle shonen. The way the seasons connect with each other and take us through generations of characters is something that amazed me when I first stumbled upon it. It's also the poster child for wild, dumb, fun in the world of anime. Almost nothing indicates that the series takes itself seriously, but it's what makes it special and allows it to deliver some of the most memorable moments in anime, such as the 7-page Muda, amongst others.
I want to watch JoJo, bro. I want to get into it.
Rank number 4
it just seems ridiculous. Come on, that's what I like to see, bro.
Gintama,
bro.
I can say, is the master of multiple genres. Fans love it for its very intense and dramatic moments, but they also love how it can go all in on the comedic and parody aspects. I say that's the big appeal of Gintama, its propensity in switching gears and giving you the best of the two ends of the spectrum, all without inducing mood whiplash. One moment you'll be laughing along with Gintoki and the gang, and the next moment you'll be at the edge of your seat while watching an extremely gripping segment, helped by great sound and art direction, one that's evolved alongside the years. It also helps that Gintama has some of my favourite villains and side characters in action shonen. Bonus points for finishing the story in one of the best possible ways. A banger of a movie featuring some of the most epic fights the series has to offer. On another note, it's not an anime.
They're getting Haikyuu, like 2 movies. I think people are mad because they said it's like they have like 100 chapters left to cover, so I don't know, bro. I know that was random. Like, you like, where did Haikyuu come from?
Anime, which a newcomer might not be familiar with. The honor of being the 3rd best action shonen goes to Fullmetal Alchemist.
I'm not mad at it. Personally,
here's another classic for you. FMA has been recommended to death by people. It's just that good. It's a series rife with action, but also filled with a lot of storylines that make you ponder. It's quite the profound shonen that deals a lot with morality and the like, all while packaging the whole thing excellently in an exciting series full of epic fights and adventures. It didn't quite penetrate the normie consciousness the same level as the bigger battle shonen anime did. That's more to do with the fact that this is a show that's not as easy to consume. Things move at a slow burn at times, much to the benefit
Commissioner
of its
Bradley,
That's certainly a reason this show is still getting recommended by people this 2022 compared to a lot of the more popcorn entertainment peers. In terms of writing and thematic meaning in shonen anime, it's hard to trump FMA.
Oh shit. Start right now. No.
In 2nd place is the 2013
AOT. Okay, AOT. What's number 1? I can't think.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking.
I feel like he said
Attack on
everything.
Titan, at first glance, looks nothing like a shonen manga turned anime. Heck, even after watching it and seeing the violence, the convoluted plot lines, the depth of characterization and relationships, as well as the social commentaries, you wouldn't think that it's something that belongs with the likes of fairy tale. But it is indeed published in a shonen magazine, and that's beautiful. It's something like
I heard the ending
was
was ass though, so we're gonna give it the full metal right now.
Overall, Attack on Titan is worth the hype. It starts off catching everyone's attention by giving us a thrilling setup of humans fighting for survival, one that's devoid of the usual shonen plot armor or other usual tropes, giving us something that looks so unique in the world of anime for its time back in 2013. Then, once it's got our attention, it starts talking to us, showing us the depth of humanity's derangement and a lot of other social problems we face, all while not letting go of the action, as some of the epic moments in the latter seasons, like Levi fights or the cinematic clash at the end of Season 3 prove. Finally, I have Hunter x Hunter as my best action shonen anime. Hunter x Hunter. There's just a lot of ways to express why this is my favorite shonen anime and why I think it deserves recognition for being one of the best ones out there. A lot of people laud Hunter x Hunter for its generalist appeal and lack of reliance on shonen tropes. It's not as in-your-face subversive as Attack on Titan tropes can be, but it doesn't need to be. It treads the
I've never seen
shonen
it, bro.
fare
I
while
can't talk
integrating
much.
some dark and mature moments that truly
Probably
showcase
like
the power of the
10
medium. Despite
episodes,
having
bro.
the appearance of a simplistic
Couldn't do it,
shonen
though.
for young
I
people,
had
it's
to turn it off.
rather unorthodox in its approach to battle, power-ups, character arcs and such, and people eventually realize that there's much to this show than appearances first suggest. Truly a masterpiece in the realm of shonen storytelling. Hunter x Hunter deserves all the acclaim it's been getting. The memes about the manga's hiatus have overshadowed the actual content at times, but the fact that people still eagerly await the series even after 2 decades is proof of how much it touched the hearts of millions worldwide. And that wraps it up.
I really, no, I don't know, bro. I just don't want to sound like a hater, bro. I just don't want to sound like a hater. Like, it's okay. I just don't like Gon. Gon's just pretty a mid-ass character to me. I just don't care for Gon. Like, that's really it. But that's all, y'all. Did y'all agree with the list? Did y'all enjoy the video? If y'all did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. That's it, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. It's been your boy Trick God, and I'm going on. Peace. See you.